Namaste, everyone. Welcome, leaders of love, to the Healing Beyond Burnout webinar, a spiritual perspective on how to get out, stay out, and thrive beyond burnout, led by me, Jamie London Wahlberg. Let us know where you are tuning in from. We're going to lower this music a little bit here. Let us know in the chat, where are you tuning in from? We are going to give everyone another moment to get settled here. This is not something you need to take notes for. We're going to talk more about that later. So put all those worries behind you. Get yourself a nice beverage. Get yourself nice and comfy. We're going to be here for about an hour or so, depending on how many questions and interactions come through. So get yourself comfortable. I am so excited. We are going to get started in just a moment. So I recommend that everyone go to YouTube, preferably. You can watch this pretty much anywhere, but Instagram, for whatever reason, they will cut out within an hour. So we want to make sure that everyone is A-okay. Okay. So we encourage you to go over to YouTube. Yeah, there seems to be also a little delay there because it's a newer integration. So we are going to begin. I am here in Brooklyn, New York, and I am so honored to be here with each and every one of you. Before we begin with this webinar, I want to talk about a couple of things. Number one is that there's going to be a replay wherever you're watching this. So do not worry if you need to get up and take care of your own needs. Make sure that you're taking care of your own needs and the needs of your loved ones, and be mindful of your immediate surroundings. Number two is that there are going to be affirmations throughout this presentation, and I'm going to invite you to say those affirmations, either to yourself out loud with those around you or in your mind, whatever resonates. So be ready for those. And the third thing is that this is going to be somewhat of a rapid fire. I am going to continue to talk for the stretch of the webinar, and then we will have time for questions. So if you have a question, note it down, write in the comments, let everyone know. If you are watching this now, hashtag healing beyond burnout. And if you are watching this replay, hashtag replay, put your questions in. I will check them, your comments, your thoughts, banter, communicate with each other. This is definitely going to be a powerful and integrative experience. So let us dive in. Again, I will say namaste and welcome, leaders of love. My name is Jamie, and I'm a leader of love. And if you're watching this, you're listening to this message right now, it means you've chosen to get out of burnout, or stay out of burnout, or thrive beyond burnout, or at minimum, you're curious about what it would be like to say goodbye to burnout forever. I'm really grateful you're here. And I already love you unconditionally. So we're going to lower the music because we are about to dive in. And let's just take a moment to breathe. And as long as you're not moving heavy machinery, I encourage you to close your eyes and just be here in this moment. Feel into where you are. I hope you enjoyed that moment as much as I did. So, welcome and congratulations. As I said, you're here for one of these 4 reasons, and I am so excited that you are, because this share, which is really what this is this really big share of my experience, is filled with gemstones, diamonds, gold for you. It's truly coming from my experience and my heart. It really is. So, just breathe. Who is this for? Okay? A leader of love knows their purpose and leads from their heart with love. They desire to make the world a better place by honoring their purpose and sharing their gifts in service to the collective. So, if this is you, if you are saying, this sounds like me, I'm someone who cares deeply about these things, then stick around. And if you're not sure, still stick around because maybe you will realize that this is a bit of imposter syndrome for you, that this is something that is here for you right now. This is truly for you. So, after many years of burnout, I realized I think I've really cracked the code to the deeper layers of what burnout is, as well as what's required to both get out and stay out of burnout. In fact, I'm going to give you all the lessons I've learned in my most recent burnout over the last 2 months, go over some challenges, as well as share the solutions I found most helpful. We're going to dive into those topics of unconditional love, intention, inspiration, and play, as well as shame, insecurities, and all those little fears that lead to overthinking instead of producing. I desire for all of us to get out of burnout and to wake into unconditional love, for all of us to be the leaders of love we're destined and desire to be. I know and I remember what's possible when we are. Are you ready to be a leader of love who lives a life free of burnout? If your first reaction was doubt or no, I encourage you to stick around at least a little bit longer and see if your mind changes. Because if you're here, this is for you. This guide has been created for you to help you while on your journey. It's here to get you out of burnout, to help prevent and stay out of burnout, to manifest the life you desire beyond burnout. It's designed to be a guide, a supportive friend, to be a resource with practical and spiritual solutions. Be inspiration, leading to inspired action. Be a perspective and a frame to play with. Does this sound like something that you need in your life? Does this sound like something that you are looking for? Are you ready to get out of burnout? Do you feel ready to prevent and stay out of burnout? Are you looking to manifest the desires that you have? So before we go any deeper, we of course need to talk about what burnout is, right? Burnout is a temporary state of being whereby you feel exhausted on any number of your physical, mental, emotional, and or spiritual levels, to the point of experiencing a lack of motivation, belief, and faith. Belief and faith. So what really is here for you to be taking away is this is temporary. This is not something you need to experience all the time. Now, these are some signs for burnout. These aren't even all the signs. These are just the majority of the major signs. And typically in a presentation, webinar, guide, I would not put a lot of words on the slide here, but there's a reason. Because raise your hand if you look at this list and it feels overwhelming. Raise your hand if you look at this list and you see so many words that resonate, or you're just so overwhelmed that you can't even make out the words on the page, right? When you look at this, do you feel overwhelmed? Because often the overwhelm that we feel during burnout is because we are feeling a lot. And maybe all of these things, or some of these things. It's a lot of energy and a lot to experience. If you're experiencing most or all of these to any levels that feel disruptive and extreme, you're not alone. You're meant to be here. And again, I really want to emphasize that this is temporary. This is temporary. The exhaustion is temporary. The depression and sadness is temporary. The feeling lost and confused is temporary. Now, what causes burnout? Okay, burnout is caused by an overexertion in any number of major areas of your life and within yourself, which then creates an imbalance. So if you do not love yourself unconditionally, you are opening yourself up to the possibility of burnout. Okay. You are opening yourself up to the possibility of burnout if you do not love yourself unconditionally. So, for those who don't know about my journey, you may be wondering why I'm making this webinar. Why do I feel so passionate about having this be something that is free and accessible to you? I spent the time to do this because this is my story. And I'm going to share with you a little bit of my burnout journey. Now, when you look at this person on this left side, that Jamie, believe it or not, that's me. Does that person look happy? Does that person look authentically living their life like they are in control? I mean, my arms are bent over. I'm bent over and slouched over. My head is tilted down. My hair is kind of in my face. I have no energy of confidence or being present or really wanting to be present. And that's because June 30th, 2011, I didn't want to be present. I was dealing with thoughts of suicide, with ideations. I was dealing with imposter syndrome. I was burning out over and over again from being inauthentically me. And I was so deep in it that I didn't even know that this wasn't my authentic self. I didn't even know that this wasn't authentically me. And then you look over here at the right and you see this Jamie from February 16th. For those watching this in real time, that wasn't that long ago. And always in transition, right? I believe that I'm always in transition. But as someone who was assigned female at birth and someone who has come to be this person now, everything that's happened in between these two pictures is not something I can express to you in a tiny little box. Not in detail, but what I can tell you is that I took a journey of burnout to waking in to leader of love. And this Jamie here is the leader of love. This Jamie here is a leader of love. So I want to dive in a little bit because it's been a long journey. It's taken me a really long time to realize I could summarize the last decade plus to a journey from burnout to leader of love. I literally used to burn out over and over and over again because I wasn't living authentically. My relationships were unhealthy, and overall, my whole life was out of balance. I always knew there was a reason I was here. I was here to help people, and yet I felt super lost as to how that could be. Even though I would find career tracks to lean into for large chunks of time, nothing was really adding up. I was raised in a work hard and play hard culture. And as far as I was concerned, I was building the life of my dreams. It didn't always feel that way. And then one day, my health changed. And from that, so did my entire life. I burned out to a serious extreme. It landed me feeling alone. After it, as long as I felt it, I felt so lost. And I envisioned this time differently. It landed me bedridden on and off, initially for 9 to 10 months, and erratically from there for about 8 years. And during that time, I went through the ups and downs of burnout, which we'll discuss a bit more later, though that's not what I would have called it. I was burned out and about to begin a pivot into waking in, a process that would take many years both to deepen and expand within. During this time, there was a standout moment for me where my burnout began to make sense to me in a new way. It was the lowest part of my life. I was at a low point. I was suicidal, and I'd completely lost all sense of hope. I was in 10 out of 10 pain, literally 24/7, and I couldn't make sense of sticking around. As much as I couldn't make sense of why, even though I knew I was designed to be here to help others, that was, in fact, me. I was the one who was in need the most. Now, at this point, I didn't have a religious, personal, or spiritual upbringing. So, for at the time, a Jewish woman with little to no experience with prayer, you can only imagine the depths of darkness I was in. In order to make the attempt, I prayed and I cried. And it honestly felt like I begged for an answer. I wanted to know what was happening to me and why. Have you ever felt like that? Like you were burnt out or something was happening and that felt that it was happening to you that was so horrific and you're saying, "Why me? Why is this happening?" That was what was happening for me. And to this day, I honestly don't fully know how to explain what happened next. All I can say is that I didn't have the divine spiritual connection that I felt, and all I can say is that I have a divine spiritual connection to God, source, creator, universe, whatever resonates with you. Because in that moment, something clicked and other things unlocked for me. A lot of things unlocked for me. It wasn't that movie moment where I jumped out of bed immediately, like in the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but wasn't magically healed. However, I did choose life in that moment. And in that moment, it ended with a deeper understanding, a confirmation that I was here to help and that I was not to give up. I made a promise that if I could ever get out of bed again, I would live my authentic life and help others to do the same. And for a long time, I've called it my tri awakening. And it would be a lot longer before I would start to awaken and fully become this leader of love who I am today. I really went through an awakening with my identity, with my health, and with my spirituality. Converge as my converge noise like it all at one time. Okay. It really felt like it was all at once. But of course it wasn't all at once. There were three phases of burnout that I've discovered that I went through. There's the healing, then there's the balancing, and there's the manifesting. And you're going to notice between these that there's a lot of similarities. And here's why. Because a lot of the same things are necessary in order to get through these phases. So you're going to have healing in balancing and while manifesting. You're going to need to integrate no matter what phase you're in. No phase is right or wrong. It's simply that one feels better than another, right? And you really need to balance in order to manifest. And we're going to talk about that in just a bit. But before we do, I would like to go into how to heal out of burnout. Okay, now, burnout recovery is essential. And also, it's not enough. It's step one. It's, in fact, half of the equation. You need to plan for yourself once you're out of burnout to keep yourself out of burnout. Because burnout happens over and over again for the same reasons that people fall out of New Year's resolutions so quickly. People often don't honor their natural cycles and push themselves into these unrealistic goals without a sustainable plan. They want to get from A to Z without a scratch in 5 seconds. Raise your hand if you've been that person. I have. So to get out of burnout, you got to consider it as a part of your recovery to make a plan to keep you out of burnout. It's the in between from burnout to thriving. It's necessary. If you want to keep out, don't allow fear to propel you back into the same habits that got you there in the first place. Bring yourself into a balanced state of being on a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level. Deepen your unconditional love journey to love yourself and others unconditionally. Create healthy boundaries. Create a routine you love to keep you in balance. Take inspired action. on your purpose. Okay, you gotta be intentional. Intention is everything. Burnout is not a vacation. Though you might take a vacation as part of your burnout recovery, which I totally support, it's not about laying in bed all day with zero intention. Burnout recovery is intentional and it requires you to determine what's best for you in terms of getting out of burnout and then having that recovery and then taking the inspired actions to do so. So if you're going to lay in bed all day and watch movies, be intentional about it so that you can be present as well as make progress. The goal of recovery is to recover and at a divine pace. This is the same with manifestation. Thoughts aren't enough. You need actions too. And rest, even, is an action. So make it intentional. Okay, receive the burnout benefits. I know. I'm still kind of surprised saying this, but there are benefits to burnout. Burnout recovery is not all about fun, and it can also be super fun because balance between that shadow loving and healing with the other ways of play, part of that recovery is about allowing yourself the full immersion into the things you love. And if you're feeling that frustration, ask yourself, what am I receiving? When you're feeling frustrated on that path of actualizing the life you desire, consider focusing on what you're receiving. Because this is a far more optimistic and abundant question to use when you're deep in doubt and lack. There's nothing wrong with the desires. However, focusing on what you're lacking and the result itself doesn't provide you with the steps to get there. Unconditional love. Loving yourself unconditionally means loving the wholeness of who you are without any conditions. Even if you don't like or love something in the present moment about yourself or your situation, you can love unconditionally. One cannot love others unconditionally until they love themselves. Period. So when I first came to realize this, I found it challenging. I found it really helpful to close my eyes, take a deep breath, and visualize. Visualize and reflect on the oneness and connection of everything. It's much easier to love anything and everything unconditionally when you realize that it's all you. Because it is. It's all you. I am you, you are me, we are we. So let's get into the truth about health and FOMO, because this is something that is regularly misunderstood. Okay, here's the key thing to get. Once your health hurts you, nothing else will. Not in the same way. That doesn't mean that it cannot hurt you. It's really more that you won't let it. It's totally different. I don't allow things to stop me that are big deterrents for other people. And that doesn't make me better than or less than. It's just something that's a different experience for me because of the experiences that I've gone through. So, as an example, the weather, right? I know a lot of people, maybe you know a lot of people, maybe it's you who doesn't want to go out, do anything because of the weather, even if it keeps you from seeing your favorite people. And I get it. I do. I used to be one of those people. It was an inconvenience and therefore just didn't seem worth it because there would just be another day. There would be another happening. But here's the thing. Once you have a big health journey, you realize that absolutely nothing is promised outside of life, death, and change. So this is the deep awareness on the other side of FOMO. The difference in this case happens to be that there's not a fear of missing out for them or for me. It's that I'm choosing not to miss out. Once you're able to love through the experience of going from your health stopping you to your health propelling you forward, you won't allow anything outside of true danger, of course, to stop you from anything you desire. When I can, I choose to be with my favorite people and I do my favorite things because I know how much of a privilege that is. And this is a process and a practice within boundaries and accepting where people are within their experiences because my choices are built around my own. They're not going to be your same experiences. So it's important because that patience, that's possible. That patience is there for you. It's there for you. Okay. So we're going to go into a bit of a deeper topic within this. And we're going to come into attachment, suffering, and abandonment. And because, especially this one, is such a strong topic, I'm going to invite you to take that deep breath with me and say this affirmation. If you can, really speak it out loud. I am surrounded by love in every way. And really feel that for yourself. Really feel that. I am surrounded by love in every way. Attachment is at the heart of suffering, not desire. This was something that was both my own conclusion and the main message that I got from a book called End Your Story, Begin Your Life by Jim Drever. Thank you, Jim. To me, suffering is a mindset, it's a perspective, an experience, and a consciousness state. Even expectations are a different thing altogether. And that's where my focus was, suffering from expectation. These do connect and feed one another. Attachment comes with this idea of ownership and the fear of losing something or someone you love. And this is so human. I recently took an attachment quiz, which is changing my life. More on that later. Don't make yourself wrong, and instead find a way to release attachments. Sometimes someone's isolation feels like your abandonment. There are moments when we all need time physically to be alone, to process, to feel and be with ourselves. This is how we learn about ourselves. And sometimes abandonment is true abandonment. Sometimes that is true. But the child cannot discern this, and the adult can. Now, exhaustion versus being tired, these are different things. Right? We talked about how burnout is about being exhaustion. So being out of burnout doesn't mean you don't get tired, because tired's a natural state of being for your physical vessel. Right? It uses this feeling to invite you to perform maintenance, right? To give yourself rest and nourishment. So when we're in burnout, we're exhausted on a consistent basis, no matter how much sleep we get, because the exhaustion is far more than the physical. So do you see how these are different things? Exhaustion and being tired are different. So is being and feeling. Being is not the same as feeling. For example, being angry isn't the same as feeling angry. You're better off feeling angry because you're not your anger. You're experiencing anger. You're experiencing anger. So you are actually better off feeling that anger. We're going to talk more about that later. Let's get back into that all states are temporary. I'm going to keep saying it because it's super, super important. It's really key to get here. Because I've been in those moments where it feels like, name that emotion. It's going to last forever. And it always changes. Maybe not in 5 minutes or 5 weeks or 5 months. Maybe not even 5 years. But you get to determine what that is by the efforts you put in, by your recovery plan. But it always changes. Even our favorite moments don't last forever. So, this is also why it's important to maintain a balance and to be present. Holding space for your emotions, that's going to help you a lot. You cannot simply erase having emotions within the human experience. That's not possible. So, ignoring them is not the way to alchemize them. Give them their space to breathe, give them their space to teach you. Okay, release those that don't serve you and amplify the emotions that do serve you. And the ability to do that comes from setting boundaries. It is really important that you set boundaries for your highest good. Let us take a moment to breathe within this affirmation. I let go of habits that no longer serve my health and happiness. Mm. I let go of habits that no longer serve my health and happiness. And the best way to do this is to set boundaries. Burnout doesn't always mean to stop everything. It's about finding the things that feel halted and the blocks stopping everything that are within you. So trade up, trade in, and then use that trade in to trade up. Let go of what no longer serves you. Because within that allows for a trade of new energy, which becomes an upgrade supporting our next level, right? Fill then pour. This is a phrase we've heard many times because it's true. Having your basic needs met is real. You can truly not pour out of an empty cup. So keep saying no and setting boundaries when you need to. You'll be amazed how much it can feel like something you desire pops out of thin air, just like that, into your life, exactly when you need it most. Because you have been amazing about setting those boundaries. So set those boundaries. You can do it. I really believe in you. Now, embracing and changing pivots. Oh, I love this one. Let's say this one together as well. I can change anything by changing my mind. I can change anything by changing my mind. Embracing changing pivots. Pivots are not bad, they are healthy. Recovery allows for daydreams and initial planning, so pivots are not bad. Stop stressing out over them. Pivoting is healthy and it makes sense because you change and you grow and everything around you changes. And then it makes the most sense to reevaluate and to change accordingly. Staying the same when you're unhappy is disempowering yourself. You're capable of making new choices all the time. To resist change is to resist living. To resist change is to resist living. Change is constant. When change is in the power of a leader of love, it can be a tool of love. It's completely understandable and smart to make changes when you get burned out because something or many things weren't effective, right? If you are the big decision maker in your world, in your business, in your home life, in your family life, when you get new information, you reevaluate and you make changes. And if you're not, that may be what's leading to your burnout. And that's why you're here, because the cause and effect wasn't happening how you desired. The only way to make a change is to literally make a change. When you have new information, it's intelligent to pause and reflect before making changes. And frankly, during burnout recovery, it's best to not make any permanent changes or plans unless something is immediately detrimental. If so, by all means. But that said, getting attached to anything determined During burnout isn't wise because chances are you'll discover a new lesson and want to make a change again. And making initial plans can help to bring more clarity and more certainty, more grounding and stability, and more progress, leading to more motivation. So it is worth it. And you'll desire that motivation once you're out of burnout and to build upon it. You're going to keep pivoting because you're going to keep growing. So make sure that you allow for that space for you to grow. Gratitude is everything. I am grateful for the generosity of others. I am grateful for the generosity of others. Gratitude really is everything. For me, as usual, every single day, starting with listing 3 things that you're grateful for is revolutionary. I do so in the continued group chat some of us maintain from the Global Gratitude March of 2023. And sharing it makes it that much more powerful. Even the little things can add up to feel like big things in times where things feel really dark. So many core things have come up for me in this previous 2 months, including gratitude for the support that I was getting. And that's because I finally leaned in to a really important equation. And it may seem obvious, but this was not something I was leading into. And that is community plus asking for help equals abundance. I'm an Aries. I was being a little stubborn. But here's the thing, leaders lead and follow. So let's lean into this affirmation. I am grateful for the people in my life. If you're watching this with someone right now, turn to them and say, I am grateful for you. I am grateful for the people in my life. Burnout recovery is not a solo activity or mission. It's important to balance the isolation you truly desire for your alone time with community. Allow for the help. Ask for the help. Don't choose for someone else. Allow for them to say no or maybe, or to set extra boundaries around your request. You are worthy of all of your desires. Ask for help even when you don't know how. You can even start by saying, I think I desire help, and I don't know how to ask for what I need right now. In fact, you can start by creating a piece of art, or sending an email, or a poem, or a text. Whatever it takes to open your expression and find a way to communicate. Most people are not mind readers. And even those who are may not want to cry, including myself. So, they're waiting for your consent to jump in and help. Knowing the difference between what needs to actually be done versus what you can have help with, that might feel challenging, and you can ask for help with that too. Now, suffering versus help. It's never worth it to suffer. It is always worth it to ask for help. I'm learning how to ask for help more. It's a deprogramming and a practice. Help looks and feels different for everyone, as does suffering. So when we're suffering, it can feel as though all the joy has been sucked out of us and that we will never be happy again. It can feel as though we are being swallowed by our lack, our depression. It can feel like 10 out of 10 pain all over 24/7. It could look like withdrawing from the world and feeling lost while feeling alone with yourself. When asking for help, we may initially fear abandonment, feeling judged. We may feel as though we are a burden, and the self-worth bug can show up. However, that's only the beginning. Because the result of this asking for help from your community It's abundance. It's abundance in a big way. Burnout is a state of being, and no state of being is permanent. This means it has the ability to change. This means you can get yourself out and stay out. You really can. Preventing burnout means pausing before you're tired. It means don't make choices in your schedule due to lack, make it from choice of wealth, when the remembrance health is wealth. Because if you're going to be wealthy, you need to rest and trust that the money will come when you are at your best self. Because when money comes when you're not in your best self, that doesn't help you. That doesn't help anybody. Let's breathe into this affirmation. People around me take care of me and respect me. It's because, as we said, community leads to abundance. Asking for help can feel like thriving. It can feel like unconditional love. It can feel like support and guidance. It can feel like resources and services. It can feel like rest and recuperation. It can feel like collaboration. It can feel like satisfaction and success. It can feel like expansion and growth. It can feel like joy and abundance. It can feel like bliss and healing. It can feel like access and freedom. It can feel like progress and resolution. It can feel like completion and ease. There's no need to resist what's easiest for you. Though things may not currently be how you desire or imagined happening, this is where they are now. And you can do something about it. You could put your ego down for a little nap and heal deeply by choosing yourself. The choice is to ask for help. It's to let go of the shame, to let go of the story that you are weak for desiring help, to better your situation. Asking for help is strength and intelligence. Since I've been asking for help more, you will never guess what's happened. Are you ready? I've been receiving help. I know. And it's amazing because what happened is the moment that I began to open up to receiving help from any benevolent source genuinely wanting to help me, is that the universe began to put in front of me exactly who I needed to connect with in that moment. This is where I've been spending a lot of my energy now, leaning to and learning into this practice of receiving. The more that I receive, the more that I can give. The better I've been getting, the more I'm providing from an overflow of abundance. So, how much more could you be and do if you chose to receive more? Who would that version of you look like to receive exactly what it is that you desire and need? Now, we've been talking about building a routine, right? So, let's talk about building and activating a routine that you love. As I said before, it's the in between from burnout to thriving. So, it's necessary if you want to keep out. My routines are sacred, and changing any aspect requires thoughtfulness. I always make sure to tap in and release something if it resonates, and the same as if I do for adding, right? So it's made up of a lot of these tools. There's no such thing as too many tools, and there's so much thing as utilizing too many tools at once. Add and remove slowly. Overloading yourself with tools and resources is no better than doing too much of anything. Balance is balance. And you're going to want to get organized. Getting unstuck means finally figuring out the best methods for you to organize yourself effectively, long term, and consistent. In my case, I asked someone who's more organized than me to help me organize, and she ended up building a tool that we now both found useful. My productivity is much more. I'm thriving in all terms of progress. I'm completing so much more overall. I'm living a more balanced life. For those who are watching this now in real time, know that very soon after this, we are going to be releasing some very exciting news about that tool coming soon. And if you are watching this In a couple months, then this tool may be available for you. And you can go to wake-in.com to learn more. And then there's tasks. Tasks. How long is your task list? Right? The most challenging tasks for us, they require the most rest. I noticed that the more that I rested to prepare my energy for those tasks, the more productive and focused I became. Instead of procrastinating and feeling blocked, everything flowed as it does in divine timing. So take a look at your routine and see what is in your routine right now that may not be serving you. So, power inspired action and integration. My therapist blew my mind recently, blew my mind open to this idea that love can be used as a weapon. And this idea of overpowering with love blew my mind because I have zero conscious desire to overpower anyone, even with my love. And I'm now in the process of balancing my love with my unconditional love for myself. It's a privilege to get to choose to be and do. What would life be like if you didn't have that choice? Feeling you don't have that choice is not the same as actually not having it. Consider shifting your perspective of what choice is to an expanded neutrality, and you will realize there was never an unchosen moment. Each moment is for all of us. So, inspiration, this is a cure for burnout. It's not the only cure, obviously, because we're here for this hour. Inspiration is the cure for burnout. When you feel inspiration, it seems like everything feels brighter and all feels possible. Remember who you are authentically to remember what it is that you love. Now, there's a lot of different ways that I like to learn about who I am and lean into loving myself, and that is integrating with some friends. There's lots of friends to integrate with. These are some of my favorite friends. So, diving into them, plants and fungi. Healing and integrating with plant and fungi spirits responsibly and respectfully is the key to getting out of and preventing burnout. For most people, these will be viable tools, teachers, and guides provided to us from within our own home, this earth. And they have been here for long before us, and they will be here long after us. Their wisdom and their medicine is life altering and has been for me in ways that are best explained through experience. There really is no going back. And this requires you to be intentional and consistent with whatever plan is chosen for these experiences, including how much and how often. Be mindful, do your research, trust your intuition, and those who dedicate themselves in some form to experiencing these spirits with unconditional love in these ways listed above. Remember that without integration, you're only experiencing half of the experience. You'll be amazed as to how much deliciousness is on the other side of that journey. Animal medicine. Have you looked at your animals? Observe them. Observe them, how they behave around you before burnout, when you're in burnout, whatever phase of burnout, after burnout. It can be really enlightening because they're not shy to ask for what they desire, right? They are not shy. You have your whole team, your spiritual team of archangels and galactic masters and guides and ancestors, crystals and dragons, fan elementals, Reiki, and more. There are so many friends to help you to integrate. So choose the friends that resonate for you. Taking, creating, and playing with time. Burnout recovery looks different for everyone, as mentioned before, and it takes the time it takes. Now, I know that that's not what you want to hear right now. I don't want to tell it to you. I didn't want to hear it. I don't like saying it, but rushing the process, it's the ultimate misstep. It's not a race. No matter how scared you are about the time running out, sometimes recovery happens faster than other times. Other times, things that feel far away are closer. And other times, when you feel you need more time, it's granted to you from the universe. So everything is happening for you for your best case scenario, even if that feels impossible to see. Everyone has different circumstances and desires. So there's not a one size fits all plan. Stop judging yourself and comparing. Start creating your recovery for you and with your own joy. Now, there is no such thing as wasting or wasted time. This one blew my mind. Every single moment is amazing, and something is happening for you that you might be missing. There's always lessons, joy, and more to be found. When you're feeling most frustrated, find these lessons. Burnout recovery can be easy. The moment that you allow yourself to surrender, the moment that you stop judging yourself, the moment that you start being. Time is a linear construct to help humans organize and inspire continual creation. It's so we don't get stagnant. That's it. It's perspective and experience, an intangible tool. The closest we can get to it is to choose how to spend our time and therefore what we experience. That's our power. So sometimes it feels like things are moving slow, and other times it feels like it's moving really fast. Staying present becomes easier when you realize time is infinite. What's special is your perspective of time, creating an urgency to be present for an experience. Time is actually created to slow you down and to speed you up and to ultimately keep you on your path. Maximize your value per an hour, both in what you provide and what you receive. It's about balance. There's no missing out when you choose yourself. Choosing yourself first is the most effective behavior for supporting the collective. Provide value to yourself and mirror that to the collective. Waiting. Wait for the things that feel the most out of your control, and wait for the things that you care most about. When you'll need to wait for the long periods, that's when it's worth waiting. This is so much about trusting and trusting you deserve to receive. This is not the same for anything else. So take actions the moment you're inspired and wait patiently when you're not. And here's the thing, that doesn't mean do nothing. That means redirect your focus to the next thing you can pour yourself into that aligns with you and inspires you. Don't spend your days waiting for clients or waiting for anything. Fill your time productively with things that you love. Sometimes that means rest, and other times that means a hobby. Waiting around doesn't increase the likelihood of receiving what you desire, but there's a balance between surrender and waiting around. So lean in, change your focus. In other words, literally change your perception of what focus is. You're not distracted, you're focused on 1,000 different things. So look at how you're spending your time and determine if that's how you want to spend it. Ask yourself 3 questions. Will that feel good? Does that feel good? Did that feel good? Those are the aspects of healing beyond burnout. And now we're going to get into the balancing beyond burnout. Look at how that happens. See, sometimes balancing beyond burnout can feel like you are starting at the beginning, but you're not. You're never starting at the beginning. You are always coming from your awareness that you have now, your experiences of now. So let's tap in to balancing beyond burnout. Let's tap into this affirmation. I am always connected to the harmony of the universe. I am always connected to the harmony of the universe. Part of your recovery is making a plan to keep you out of it. Remember, we said that earlier, it's the in between from burnout to thriving. It's necessary if you want to keep out. So don't allow fear to propel you back to the same habits that got you there in the first place. Everyone will have a different balance. In this case, think about doing as the inspired action, whereas being is flowing within your highest self in the present. Can you see how both of these require a form of inspired action versus patience and waiting. So stop making this about balance that you think you need to get to the finish line and start making this about your power in the present. From here, you will start to find your balance. And by the way, that could change. So don't get attached to what that looks like. As we talked about earlier, do not get attached. Release that attachment because you're going to change and grow. Possibility, creation, and progress. I am valuable and make powerful contributions to the world today. I am valuable and make powerful contributions to the world today. Yeah. In the extremes, you can be in the possibility or you can be in the progress. So, possibility is everything before creation, and progress is everything after creation. And within those bounds of that spectrum is the void. So, to get the best results, create a balance between possibility and progress. And when you strive towards those goals, do so with excitement instead of attachment. So, that's what we're going to touch upon for balancing beyond burnout. And now we're going to go into manifesting beyond burnout. On the other side of burnout, there is everything else. Everything else. Everything that you ever wanted. If you desired to be out of burnout and everything you desired is everything that burnout is not, then you're at a major advantage. A major advantage. So, in fact, there's nothing to actually be afraid of because you have the upper hand here. What's the key to manifesting beyond burnout? It's loving yourself unconditionally. What's the key is loving yourself unconditionally. To love yourself unconditionally is to love the wholeness of who you are in your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies, no matter what phase you're in. It's this love which will keep you in balance. And that's something that we want to do, right? We want to stay in balance in order to manifest. So, actions for manifesting beyond burnout. As long as you make choices honoring your natural balance and support yourself utilizing the tools within the routine that you've now created that you love, you'll be at the best self. You will be at your best self to manifest as a leader of love. So continue to dedicate yourself to your self love journey. And as you evolve your actions. As you evolve and those you love evolve around you, from sharing your unconditional love as an extension of your unconditional love for yourself, you will upgrade in the ability to manifest from a balanced place of unconditional love. You will thrive within your purpose and your mission, not at the expense of everything you love, because of your love for yourself. So, we spoke about the phases of burnout. Now, these are the beyond burnout phases. Notice the mirroring. So, we have healing beyond burnout, balancing beyond burnout, and manifesting beyond burnout. All things we've talked about. And again, you're going to look at these and say, these are pretty similar to one another. And that's because they are. They are pretty similar to one another. That's because you're going to audit yourself and your journey as you go through your journey because your journey is always changing. You're always going to have intentions and goals and plan. You're always going to feel, discover, and heal. You're going to integrate and balance and update your routine and integrate again. The discernment is for the manifesting beyond burnout. Once you're at that phase, your integration and creation. And these are the phases that I went through and I've gone through to get myself out of burnout. So I am currently in the manifesting beyond burnout stage. And it's really been a powerful experience. So now what, right? I've given you a lot of information and I've told you my story. I've taken many, many years of my experiences within burnout, as well as what I've learned from my clients, and as much as I've learned from you and for those that I look to learn from. And I chose to pivot into a clearer set of services geared to support you in your burnout journey. So let's watch this short video about my newest program, which is the dun da 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 Back to Self program. And this is going to give you some insights into what it is that I've been experiencing. And here we go.
Namaste, my friends, and welcome to the Back to Self program. If you are a leader of love and you have burnt yourself out, if you are burnt out now or you have burnt yourself out before, you want help to prevent burnout, if you have just got out of burnout and you are on the way to manifesting the life of your dreams on the other side of burnout, all of those experiences get served and supported in the Back to Self program. I've personally been there for many different reasons. Predominantly within my health journey, I have found myself consistently burnt out. And as someone with big purpose, big missions, big dreams, I find myself consistently in the spot where I would be burnt out and I would find myself out of resources, out of support, feeling exhausted, utilizing all sorts of resources from my family and draining and then building resentful relationships, it was not healthy. And so now I have come into a new space where I get out of burnout faster than ever. I'm preventing burnout for even longer periods of time. And I have a true understanding at this point of what the algorithm really is, of what actual burnout looks like, what it means, how to get out of it, and how to stay out of it, and how to prevent it going forward. I know what it's like to have burnout, and I know what it's like to be on the other side actually creating from that excitement place. An example of this is if you took a look at me last year and I was putting together the Global Gratitude March, that was a time where I was burnout. And in a matter of seconds, I brought myself into a deep, inspired action where I was completely out of burnout. And it's because I figured out various steps and offerings that are required. So we're looking at healing burnout, we're looking at balancing beyond burnout, and we're looking for manifesting beyond burnout. So we're taking this beyond perspective and we're bringing you out of the space of making burnout this bad thing or making it this thing that is so stressful. And instead of panicking once you get yourself there, because you inevitably could get yourself back there, you're going to find a way to have an actual routine, to have actual solution to getting there. And we're going to go through various metaphysical, spiritual, and coaching opportunities and experiences 3 hours at a time over the course of 1 month or over the course of 4 months. We are going to take you from burnout to beyond burnout, into manifesting beyond burnout, where you are going to find that balance that is perfect for you. This is a program that is an upgrade from the unconditional love program. It's going to be significantly more focused. It's happening in a shorter amount of time. The sessions are longer and more intense, but we're going to be adding integration sessions. So that way it looks like 3 weeks you are going to be focusing on the physical body, then integrating. If you are doing the 4 month program, that will continue through the mental body, the emotional body, the spiritual body. If you're doing it across a month, we're going to bring all of those bodies together through the first 3 weeks and then focus on integrating them. Beforehand, you're still going to go through that self love audit. So, we're going to get a picture of where you are on your unconditional love journey and where you are going forward. Because the marking of a leader of love is someone first who loves themselves unconditionally and then goes and gives it to others. If you are resonating with anything that I'm saying here, please click that link below. Take the free unconditional love call so that it can guide you through the unconditional love call, through that self love audit, and we can really see how we can support you in your dreams going forward. Namaste.
All right. Oops. So sorry about that. Didn't realize that it removed the rest of this. Do you like my little song? Okay. So, the Back to Self program. This is officially open at this very moment. I have 11 more spots left for this first round of the program, whether you do the 4 month or the 1 month. And I'm doing 12, but I was giving one away to a pre opening spot. So thank you. Thank you so much for joining me for this experience. Thank you so much for your time, for your energy, for your heart and your soul. Thank you. I trust that you got exactly what you needed from this. And if you desire to connect any deeper, if you desire to know more of what this is about, please do book the free unconditional love audit. Please do book this unconditional love call that's right here. If you are interested in learning more about services, you can go to my website. And of course, I look forward to connecting with you on social media. You're welcome to utilize my email, wakeinto the number 2love at gmail.com. On social media as Wake Into Love, Wake hyphen in, and Jamie London Wahlberg. It's an honor to be here with you. It's an honor to serve you. I love you unconditionally. Namaste. I'll see you soon.